Well, hello, welcome to the Unibet Lowdown, brought to you by myself, Dev Sahni, and the man here today joining me, the one and only Hall of Fame boxing promoter, Frank Warren. Frank, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. I can't complain. What about you, young man?
Very, very well, Frank. Very, very well. And we got so much coming up. Really looking forward to sinking my teeth into it all. We got your call coming up on Saturday. Denzel Bentley's back. Derick Osaze. Good fight. Good way to keep summer going.
Yeah, keep the guys busy and they're in good fights and set themselves up for some bigger fights. That's what always happens with these shows that we put on at your call. That's the idea of it, to keep the guys busy, bring the younger fighters through, and that leads on to some really massive shows that we got going right up until Christmas.
Yeah, it's non-stop, and I just feel like this York Hall show. It's a good one, right? I mean, Denzel Bentley is that guy where you almost don't know what to expect because when he's hot, he is hot. You saw that last time out against Danny Dignam, and he'll feel that he should be a world champion soon enough. It's a big fight for him.
Well, it is. Again, he can't afford to slip up. He's had a couple of hiccups on the way, but he's had good performances. He's very unlucky in that fight against his name, Berenchek. I think I pronounced that right. I'm not sure.
Janibek.
Yeah, no, sorry, Yannick. Well, I got it right in the end. Yeah, he did well in that fight, and as I've said on previous occasions, had he started a little bit earlier before he got into his groove, he could have won that. But look, he's a good fighter on his day, and a lot of things happening. A lot of things happening in that division that we've got some keen interest in. Hamza and a couple of the other guys there, and some big fights to be made in the future, no doubt about that. But you got to keep winning.
Yeah, well, look, he got back to winning ways last time out against Danny Dignam. It was a two-round demolition job. It was kind of like a big statement to remind the world, hey, I'm still here. I still hit very hard. It was a great performance last time out from Denzel.
It is. I think he's in the top three of the BO. He's
Yeah.
rated by everybody. I mean, he's got good, he's well rated. So, he's in the mix and he's just got to keep doing the business. If he does the business, he'll get another shot at the world title. No doubt about that.
And in Derick Osaze, though, it's no easy fight, is it? I mean, he's only lost once to Tyler Denny, and we know how good Tyler Denny is.
Yeah, this is going to be a good fight. It's not a foregone conclusion, that's for sure. And the same thing with him. He knows that he wins it. He's in the mix too. So, it's a good competitive all British fight, no doubt about that.
We've also got on the show Alois Jr. Now, he's been sort of quietly going about his business. I say quietly, he's been knocking people out, and they haven't really been getting up very quickly after he does
They've been
so.
falling. They've been falling noisily, that's for sure.
But this is a test. This is a bit of a step up from his last few fights. Alonso Berardi is a Queensberry fighter, unbeaten, plenty of ambition.
Well, that's right, and that there comes a moment in where that you get these fights, and as I always say, it's not the end of the world for the loser. We make sure that we look after them, but the winner will go on and getting into bigger fights. So it's a sort of at this stage of his career, or both their careers, it's a significant fight.
And just a word on the fearlessness of Alois Jr. You got to remember this is a guy who took that fight with Michael Soshiensky at like 24 hours notice, went in there, just said, yes, that's my pro debut. And look at him now, a few fights later, he's stepping up again, just throws himself in, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, he is. I mean, look, he's a serious fighter. There's no doubt about that. He's still a young man, and he feels he wants to go places, and he's got the tools to do it. But he's in with a very good fighter again. He's in with a decent fighter. It's a good test.
It's a very good test. Yeah, and I think Ben Davison said that he's never been hit harder on the pads. And you know who Ben Davison's had on the pads? Very hard hands, heavy hands. He says Alois hit him harder than anyone.
Look, he can whack. There's no doubt about that. He can box a bit as well. He's not just he's not a one-trick pony. He can do that. But certainly, he's one of those guys. He catches you, you've been hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And also out of that camp, Luke McCormack, he's fight number 2 for him. I know that he's one that you're very excited about, Frank.
Yeah, I like him. I do like him, and he's. I think he's going places. I think both of them are. They're going places, no doubt about it, the two brothers.
I think it's always fun when you got twins. There aren't that many, right? But you've got Ben Fale on the show as well. Also, one half of twins as well. Like, where are these twins coming from in boxing? We seem to have more than ever right now.
Well, it is. Isn't it? It's funny that you say that, but that's a fact. I mean, I can't remember. I suppose you go back to when I first got into boxing. It's Henry Cooper and his brother. You know, they were. But you look at twins now. It's I think they were twins. Henry, yeah, they were twins. Henry Cooper, I think his brother. But this is yeah, it's a bit of a phenomenon, especially for us to have two sets. That's something else.
Yeah, two sets of twins, and the Fale brothers. They seem to just now. They've been chugging along quietly, making their way a lot of the time on shows
They're
like
good
this.
fighters. They're good
Yeah.
fighters. Don't worry about that. They're good quality. I mean, you know, as I say, we're blessed with young talent, and they're part of that. We've got some seriously good talent. I mean, these guys. I look at these guys' amount of fights they've made. If they've been in the Olympics, I think some of these would have come back with medals.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. That's a fair point. To be fair, we got a lot of talent, a lot of young talent, and
Yeah,
yeah,
very young talent.
didn't go too well in the Olympics, I guess.
No, I think we got one, didn't we? Got a medal and one of the
Yeah,
ladies. I'm not sure if one of the ladies yet, but yeah, you know, compared certainly with the previous years, no. I mean, look, you'd expected more for that. You know, you certainly would have done it, and especially in this day and age with the funding that they get.
yeah, it was quite surprising. Well, look, but we've got kids making debuts as well. The likes of Mason Payne. I think he's signed with Francis as well. Asked Francis about Mason the other day. Obviously, Francis just said yes, he's very good. But there seems to be a lot of excitement about him.
There's a little bit of buzz about him, yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in action. It's going to be interesting. First day of the football season as well.
Oh wow! I mean, it's all happening, Frank.
Well, it is. I'll be at the Arsenal in the afternoon and the boxing at night. What a sporting weekend that is.
Who have Arsenal got? You look. Is this your
Wolves.
year, Frank? Wolves.
Wolves. Yeah, it better be. It better be.
Been waiting, huh?
Yeah, don't worry about that. All good things come to those who wait.
They do indeed. And look, just to stick to the York Hall theme, we've got this show coming up, obviously on Saturday night. We've actually announced another York Hall show for September the 6th as well. The return of Sam Noakes making a European title defence, first defence of his crown as well. Just good to see Sam Noakes. Let's see if he can get back to his knockout ways as well, huh, Frank?
Well, I mean, like the last fight, I generally feel that he could have stopped his opponent. I do feel that, but that was a good win, a really good win for him, and he showed another side of his abilities, his great boxing brain he's got, and he boxed extremely well. And he's a lovely guy. You know, he's really he's one of the guys that we all like at Queensberry, and there's some big fights there to be made down the road. Him and Mark Chamberlain is a fight that I'm sure, you know, over the next 12 months is going to build up into being a monster, no doubt about that. And he's done it the traditional way as well. He's was it the British Commonwealth and European, so that's good for him. It shows you what he's all about. He's getting a lot of experience. Alan's done a great job with him, training him, and Francis, who manages him, also has done a really good job with him.
That becoming British champion and then becoming European champion all happened very quickly. All happened within the space of 2 fights within a few months as well. So suddenly he's gone from, okay, just a prospect who's knocking everyone out to suddenly, I guess he's the king of Europe right now, Frank.
Well, he is, and he's a top 10 fighter. There's no doubt about that. He's a top 10 ranked fighter, and he's going places. I mean, you know, he's a really nice guy to work with. You know, he gets it, and he's a nice family, his brother, and all the family are all nice people, and we love working with him. And I think I do think he's capable of winning a world title. I really do think that, and I do believe that.
Well, I was speaking to him because, you know, whenever you mention Sam Noakes, you end up mentioning Mark Chamberlain. Whenever you speak about Mark Chamberlain, you end up mentioning Sam Noakes. It is inevitable. I spoke to him about that fight, and he said right now it feels closer than ever. Just because, you know, before they were just prospects, it would be too early to stick him in. But the titles are starting to mount up now with these guys. The profile's building as well. It feels closer than ever, Frank. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think it'll happen, as I say, in the next 12 months. What I'd like it to be is for a world title fight.
Do you think that's realistic? Because it's the division is kind of there to be taken.
It is, and they're there to be able to go and do it. Both of them. Be nice if they could each win a world title and then have a unification. That would be my dream.
Well, then we are in dreamland. And also, let's not forget that press conference, Frank. You would be sat up there as Mark Chamberlain's manager, and Francis Warren, your son, would be sat up there as Sam Noakes' manager. I would be stirring that, Frank.
Well, you certainly would, young man. Just don't get in the middle of it.
I'll leave you to it. I'll leave you to it. You might even just do it over Sunday dinner, to be fair. Just film you guys.
Yeah, I'll have the whole family against me. Don't worry about that.
Well, listen, Masood Abdullah is also returns on that show. He's another one who's just starting to make a little bit of noise now. I think, he's with Alfie, he's with Warren Boxing Management. For so long they were telling us about how good he is. We're now starting to really see it, Frank.
He's a good fighter, there's no doubt about it, and I'm pleased. He's my nephew Alfie, and my brother Robert's son Bobby, and Sonny, and all of them. They're doing extremely well. They've got a game. They're building a good group of fighters, and it's good to see him coming through.
Yeah, he's going for that Commonwealth title. He's been the silver champion. I think Nathaniel Collins has vacated the belt, so it's become available, and he's going in against George Stewart, an unbeaten good fighter.
Yeah, another unbeaten fighter. So we'll see what he's all about.
We certainly will. That featherweight division, you seem to have you've got Nick Ball at the very top, world champion. You've got Nathaniel Collins, who's knocking on the door for European. You've got Masood coming through as well. Bit of a stranglehold on the featherweights here, Frank.
Well, there's a lot of good featherweights out there, and there's a lot of good fights to be made between all of them. And that's the business we're in, of making quality fights. And all of these guys are quality fighters, all at different levels, different stages of their careers. But inevitably they will wind up fighting for world titles, no doubt about that. And Nick's in action as well. He's going to be in action defending his world title up in Liverpool. So there's a lot going on.
It's very exciting. I'm hoping we announce all of that very soon, because I know that the Liverpool fans are just crying out for a hero.
They're going to get it. They got one. They got a few. This could be a stacked card full of real good quality Liverpool fighters. I'm looking forward to the show up now.
Fantastic stuff. Well, let's speak a little bit about the heavyweight division and the boxing world in general. It's Tyson Fury's birthday, Frank. Have you wished him happy birthday?
Yeah. Birthday boy. What's he now? 35 today? 36? I think
he's 36 today.
Yeah. It's good. It's good for. Yeah, it's lovely. I bet he's having a nice day with his family.
But I bet he's training as well.
Of course he does. What he does every day. Yeah, it's what he does every day.
He's in one of those positions once again, Frank, which I'm sure he's probably relishing, where everyone's writing him off, right? Just like they did against Klitschko, just like they did against Wilder, just like they did with his mental health. They're doing it again against Usyk.
I don't know what. Look, that people. I can't change what people's views are. It's not all of them. It's just people are entitled to their opinions, but they talk about like he was slaughtered or something in that fight. There was nothing in the fight. It was a split decision to start with, but there was nothing in the fight. We've had many conversations about who won it and how, and some people thought it was a draw. There was nothing in it. And I'm telling you, next time round it's going to be a really, really, really keenly fought fight. No doubt about that.
You think he can get the job done this time?
Yeah. All he's got to do is do what he did in the earlier rounds and stay focused.
And what have you seen from him, from being around him, from conversations with him as well? Because he put out that video about this extra, first time he's bouncing back from a loss, how it's lit something in him. Are you seeing that?
I've spoken to him a couple of times. He's up for it. He was up for it. Bloody hell, he's up for it immediately after the fight. He wanted the rematch. That's how he is. He want to put it right. He want to put it right because he knows how close the fight was. I mean, he felt he won the fight. I felt he just nicked it. But irrespective of that, he didn't get the decision, but it was a close fight, and I know he generally feels that he should have won it. I'm talking about the decision. I'm talking about he should have won it and could have won it, and he knows what he's got to do next time to make that happen.
You made a point about a minute ago about how people are perhaps focusing on what they want to focus on. There were moments in that fight also where Tyson Fury almost looked like he had Usyk out of there, but
He
that's always
did.
been.
He did. At the end of that 7th round, when he went back to that corner, I genuinely thought that was it. And everybody around me as well, and there was a few Usyk people behind us, and they were all, they all felt the same thing. But Usyk got it together and come out, and it just caught Tyson on the nose, and Tyson seemed to lose a bit of focus for some reason in that particular round. And he had a big round the next round when he nearly had Tyson out.
Well, I guess on days like this, on his birthday, and we saw it with Derek Chisora recently as well. It feels like characters like this, they're not really making them anymore, and it's going to be kind of sad when they do go. You don't necessarily see the next Tyson Fury coming through, or the next Chisora in terms of that level of unpredictable, crazy. You never know what he's going to say, what a presser's going to be like. We should be enjoying these guys while they're around.
Yeah, look, we've been blessed with heavyweights in the UK. I mean, I've said on many occasions, when I started out in boxing, the Brits never won anything at that level in the heavyweight division. Valiantly fought for the titles, but never won them. And then that got broken by when Frank Bruno, and then obviously Lennox and so forth. But we didn't do anything, and then we've been quite dominant since. Been very, very dominant in that division. Had really good heavyweights. And still do have, and probably got couple of the best young heavyweights in the world, the British as well, coming through. So, but there's a couple of characters there. I think you'll find, and it's how they come through and they come out. They're not. Sometimes you have to get a little bit of confidence. They grow with their experience. Both not just physically and mentally, and get a bit more confidence about them, and their personality comes through.
Well, someone who's, very much about personality, we just mentioned, Derek Chisora. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks now since his big win over Joyce. He's been pretty active on social media, done a couple of interviews here and there. I don't know how serious to take his poster of him and Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew kind of said, no, no, no. But, I mean, what sort of conversations have you had? What do you see as the next steps with Derek Chisora?
I don't know. I'm going to sit down with him next week. We'll see. We'll have a chat and go through it together. And with Joe, got to meet Joe as well. I haven't spoken to Joe since the defeat, because I was in LA and I've been away. So we'll find out.
Thrilling fight though, wasn't it, Frank?
Oh, it's a cracker. I mean, it's a much better fight than I anticipated. I thought Joe would win it, and Derek proved me and I suppose everybody wrong, because everybody thought Joe was going to win the fight. And he didn't, but it was a bloody keenly fought. We're probably one of the fights of the year in the UK, or in the world. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they were both unbelievably brave guys. Unbelievable. Hats off to them.
Yeah, definitely left it all in the ring. And look, a young man who very much thinks he will be leaving it all in the ring. He's very intent on getting a stoppage, a statement performance against Anthony Joshua at Wembley Stadium, is Daniel Dubois. Every interview that I see, every press article that I see right now, he sounds confident. He sounds up for it. He sounds like he wants to make a statement, Frank.
He does, and he's capable of making a statement. He's got the power to do it. He's got the boxing brain to do it. Lots been said about the shots that he took against Hrgovic in the first couple of rounds, which he did take a few shots, but the difference was he took the shots. I don't particularly want to see him taking shots, like we said about Joyce in the past. He'd take a few shots to land them, and a couple of punches he did get caught with by Hrgovic. He did ride some of them, but he did get caught with a few shots, and he showed a different side of his character and gritted his teeth and came through. And that was a really, really good, solid performance against Hrgovic. He busted him up and broke his heart at the end.
Yeah, look, he certainly did. And I put that question to him, what people are saying about if Joshua lands the same shots on him, how will he deal with it, kind of thing. And he said Joshua won't land the same shots. Hrgovic, he took him a little while to figure out the right hands. He's more kind of fluid with it all. He wasn't expecting that. Whereas with Joshua, he doesn't expect it to be like that.
But he don't know. I mean, AJ's got a new trainer. He's coming in off of a couple of wins, good wins. He beat Ngannou, done him, perfectly. They worked very hard to work out. But he'd done it and style those jabs to the bodies in that right hand, and he'd done a job on him. And the fight before that again against So Valley done a job against him. But Daniel's been in with better quality opposition than those two. Much better quality opposition than those two. And he's done a job in these last two fights. And in his last three fights, he's had better quality opposition. He fought Usyk and gave Usyk his toughest fight up until Usyk fought Tyson last time out. It was a tough fight he had. But so, he's been in with good fighters. He's shown he's right in that company. He's only 26-year-old, which is very, very young for a heavyweight. And you look at the fights he's had and the fighters he's been with. You compare that with a lot of other fighters, heavyweights, and look at their resumes and see the quality of what they've been in with at that age. It's very, he's done well. And I just feel that I do feel he can beat him. If he starts to fight how I envisage he can start it, he will do a job. He's got to go and box him. He's got to get behind his jab, and he's got to let that right hand go. And the thing about them is both those fighters will let those right hands go. And when you let your right hand go, you're vulnerable for the counter. And we will see who then or how they deal with it. Because the first meaningful, hurtful punch for me will determine this fight. Because I'm not talking about someone getting knocked out. I'm talking about when they feel the power, how they then deal with that. Are they going to go on the back foot? And whoever goes on the back foot is going to lose the fight.
I can't wait to find out. September 21st, Wembley Stadium. That is just something beautiful on the boxing horizon right now.
Wembley, the Riyadh season, Wembley edition.
Amazing. But yeah, this heavyweight division right now, a couple of movements. It seems to happen all the time. Daniel Dubois beat Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller just had a draw with Andy Ruiz, who many people thought that maybe he actually beat Andy Ruiz in that fight.
He beat him. He beat him. He won that fight. He won that fight. I felt that.
So it's like a win that for Dubois just like ages well, because then you put Andy Ruiz, he beat Anthony Joshua. All of these things start kind of happening, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Big Martin Bakole getting a big win out there as well, shaking up, his against Jared Anderson.
Well, I always felt with that fight that I've never been a big fan of Anderson. When I say a big fan, I mean all what was said about him, whatever. I never quite see that. And for me, it was all about how can I put it? That was a big test for him. Bakole's, he's a good fighter, Bakole, no doubt about that. He's a big lump. He's not the fastest, but it wasn't. I don't think that was a smart match for Anderson. I wouldn't have made that match for him anyway. That's something you do in a few fights' time. It was. He was a big name in America, or was going to become a big name in the American heavyweight division, and they're pretty skinny on heavyweights at the moment over there. So they knocked someone off, and there was no need for that.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was gonna initially. The plan was for him to fight Deontay Wilder, wasn't it? And he, that would have been a super fight. Who is the future of American heavyweight boxing? He's ended up in there with Bakole and getting stopped.
End up both of them getting beat.
Yeah. Strange position for American heavyweight boxing right now, but let's see what happens there. But we know that British heavyweight boxing is certainly in a great place. Young Moses Itauma as well, pulling up trees, knocking out Marius Wack in 2 rounds, and telling the world he knows what he wants to do. He can get there, right?
He knows what he wants to do. We know what we want to do. Again, Francis manages him. He's still a teenager, 19 and a half years of age. He's a bit of a phenomenon, and that was a very good win last time out. That was quite a bit of a statement he made.
And I think the fights that you talked about immediately after, I don't know, you tell me how realistic you think they are, but maybe it was more just you do it. You do him and Fraser Clark. You do him and Johnny Fisher, no problem.
Yep. No problem.
But could they happen, Frank?
No, no, we'll see. Let's see what happens. No problem from us. You're not got to push the door with us to make those fights. We took the door off the hinges.
Yeah. What do you see as the next step? Because he needs rounds, right? Marius Wack's meant to get him rounds, and he's done him in two rounds where he's supposed to maybe go a bit longer, get a bit more experience. They can't live with him, Frank. So what do you do with him next?
He's powerful. He's a powerful puncher, and he's smart, and he can box, and he's got good skills. He throws. What he's got is a brilliant jab. A heavyweight who can punch is something good. A heavyweight who can jab and can punch is something special. You go back to look back at Larry Holmes and guys like that. I mean, and he has a phenomenal jab. And what I liked about what he done in his last fight is how he set the guy up for the big punches. Got the measure. You see a lot of people, they get carried away. They let their shots go. They fall in on them. They don't get no distance. He measures his distance. He gets his distance correct off the jab. And then when he lets the big ones go, they land accurately and powerfully.
Yeah, and he's also got his feet very much on the ground. Like I've put a few things to him. In press conferences, I've been saying, you've been sparring Tyson Fury. You get to train with Anthony Joshua. Recently, I've said to him, people are calling you the heavyweight Manny Pacquiao, and he's just saying, I'm Moses Itauma. I'm in my lane. Don't worry about any of that.
That's what he is. He's his own man. He's his own man, and we all make comparisons because that's what we do. He reminds me of them because boxers get influenced by other boxers. Especially if you study old footage and films and looking at fighters growing up, they get influenced. Same as you say if you was an actor or if you was a footballer, you emulate. But occasionally you get a guy who has something not seen. I won't say not seen before. He's very different. And he becomes the sort of the new guy that everybody wants to watch and copy. Naz was like that. When Naz turned pro, he was a bit of a one-off. But as far as Moses is concerned, he's a handful.
Yeah, he's got that little bit of X factor, and he's when you're a southpaw in the heavyweight division as well, people don't really like fighting southpaws.
No. And he's as I say, and they don't like fighting southpaws who can whack.
Yeah. And let's not forget, look, you've got another one in the stable as well, and everyone wants to know what's happening with Big Bang Zhilei Zhang. He's certainly a big heavyweight southpaw that can whack.
We are working on something, a big fight for Big Bang, and we're working very hard on it. And I hope we'll be in a position to make an announcement fairly soon. But he'll probably fight the end of October, November.
Okay, could that be in China, Frank? Am I going to get to go to China?
I'd like it to be, and he's obviously got that rematch clause with Joe Parker, so it's all happening.
Yeah, well, whatever happens next, we know it's going to go bang with Big Bang. So looking forward to that.
Certainly will. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Frank, I won't keep you any longer. Just your final word on a cracking York Hall show on Saturday night, the return of Denzel Bentley.
Yeah, good fight, good main event. Good backup fight with it, and a fantastic card featuring all our youngsters. Real good fight card, and as I say, all these youngsters, a lot of them start off there, and they get themselves in a position where they go on to bigger, better quality fights, quality shows, and watch it. That's where boxing starts, where all these young kids come through. They learn their craft, their trade, and I enjoy watching their development, seeing them come through. Denzel, he's been there, he's fought on bigger cards, but it's nice to see him back there.
Yeah, just a quick one on Denzel, just while I remember, for a while we were linking him and Hamza Shiraz. Surely, that could happen in the future, right? They both keep winning.
Well, in the WBO, I think one is number one and number two, or is it number 2 and 3?
I think Bentley's number 2 at the moment.
Yeah, so Hamza's number 1.
Right. Make it happen, Frank.
Let's see what happens.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Frank Warren, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Cheers, Deb.